Hi everyone, and welcome to a quick, should go on for about 5-minute video on flashes. A couple of my subscribers had sent a few questions asking about the differences between a YN560 Mark III, a YN568Ex II, and they didn't ask about the new YN560. Now, I don't actually own any of these three flashes, but I have actually done my own work, so I can tell you the differences. I am going to buy, at the moment I have a 580Ex II and a 565EX. I also have a YN560 Mark II and stuff like that, but they're the two that I use on my cameras at weddings. It did piss me off not so long ago when I didn't realise that I'd forgot about the YN565EX, can't do high speed sync, and she was walking out of the church and I was photographing and a few of the pictures. Luckily I used two cameras, and it was actually the close-up shots what were blown out, because what had happened is because it knocked my shutter speed down to 2/50th of a second, and it should have been, I think, about 800. Don't get me wrong, they actually did recover, so that actually really pissed me off. So I'm going to buy another flash, and the YN568Ex Mark II is the one I'm going to go for, which is this flash here. We'll just talk about that first. And for us it's 130 quid, but you can get the Mark I a little bit cheaper, the YN568Ex Mark I. It still does high speed sync, which is what I want to do, and it does all that good stuff, but this is identical to the 580Ex Mark II. It can act as a master, which I never use, but it's handy to have it for another 17 quid or something like that, 20 quid, I'll pay it. Plus it's a lot more of a modern flash, and younger flashes now are really getting superb and they just seem to work. So this is the flash I'm going to go for, but this flash, who is this flash for? This flash is for somebody wanting like a 580Ex Mark II, the specs, but they can't afford it. This does every single thing that the 580Ex Mark II does. The YN568Ex Mark I, it wouldn't control other flashes, it wouldn't act as a master, but I think it did everything else. But this one can be a master as well. It can be fired off in wireless systems. It's got all that good stuff on it. So I'll shut up about that one, but I'm going to get that one as another 580Ex, so to speak, and I'll review it when I get it, like, obviously. Right, now I've also been looking at this flash because I wanted a few more. I got rid of a couple of my old, I can't remember what they were, YN, I don't know what they were called, I can't remember the name of it, but I had a couple of older ones that didn't have digital displays, and I gave them away to my sister, so I need a couple more cheap flashes. So I've been looking at, I've got the YN560 Mark II, which I think is fantastic, and if you look through my videos you'll find the review on that. But I was looking at this number 3 because I was maybe going to get this. It's only 58 quid. I always buy from Dream to Buy. That's why I'm on this website, because they never let me down, and it take about 7 days to get here, but they always get here and they always work sweet. So what is the difference between this and the YN560 Mark II? Well, obviously this is a full manual flash and it doesn't do ETTL or anything like that, but this one has a built-in trigger built into the flash. But what I don't like about this is, depending on how you trigger your flashes, if you use the RF603s or the RF602s to fire your flashes, then this could be a really good buy, because it has the built-in RF trigger. So basically you can just turn on, put your RF602, RF603 on the camera and press the fire button and your flash will go off. I do believe that when you turn your RF602 on or your RF603, that this light changes blue to let you know that it's seeing your trigger. So that looks like a good buy, but I was also looking at this one, which is hardly not much dearer in price. How much is this one? Sorry. This one's 66 and the other one's, is it 58? Yeah, so to say there's like a tenner in it. You know what I mean? And now this is the new YN560EX. Now, this is the same flash, but what this does is you can actually, it has a built-in trigger again, but the built-in trigger is for the wireless system on your cameras, so your built-in commanders. So that's a bonus, but it could be a negative because it's got to have line of sight. But it is the sort of flash that I'd go for, because it means that I can use it on my commander mode, and if I need to fire it off another way, I can just tell it to go off when one of them, because it's got S1 and S2, which means it'll fire when another flash goes off, but it's also can be fired off with the wireless system, and it can do ETTL. It can't do ETTL on the camera. All it'll do is manual. It's only got one pin on the bottom, but it can do ETTL off camera. So if you're using the built-in wireless system, you can put it on Group C in ETTL, or you can control it from the back of your camera. And for £10, I'd probably just buy an RF602 or an RF603 if I wanted to fire it off Spectrum, and I'd get this because I think this is the better flash by far. It's one of the latest models out. And this is the one I'm going to go for. I'm going to get the YN568Ex Ii, and I'm going to get maybe a couple of these, because I like the built-in wireless feature. Because most of the time when I use a few flashes, like 3 or 4 or 5 flashes, is indoors anyway. I don't do it outdoors. Very rare do I do it outdoors. So it'll see the wireless system will all work spot on, and I know I can pull these babies out, and I can control them all from the back of my camera's menu. And that's for an extra tenner. And like I said, if I did want to, I don't use RF602s, I use the YN660 IIIs. And to be fair, if I wanted that to go off, I'd just tell it to fire when one of my other flashes fired. But I'd probably use it on the wireless system indoors, because that way I can turn it up and down from the back of my camera. Anyway, I hope that clears things up about the flashes. I'm going to get these and I'll review them when they come. But hopefully that clears the differences up. And thanks for watching. Please comment and subscribe.